Hey, I'm just doing a little overview about pain today and dealing with chronic pain. I've made some real headway with my own personal case, and so I was hearing a little while back, I think it was a month or two ago, John was talking about his sciatica, and I realized that I don't have sciatica anymore, and I think it's because of some of the strategies I'll talk about tonight. So yeah, when you're dealing with pain, first thing to address is your hydration and electrolytes. A lot of people aren't drinking enough water, and the water they're drinking is not structured, it's not high quality, it's not filtered, whatever, and it's not mineralized. So that's the first key, and there's all kinds of stuff about water on the internet. You really should pay attention to the quality of your water above and beyond most things. It's really, really important. And the amount that you drink as well. I mean, you don't want to drink too much, but if you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. And that's really, personally, I think eating a lot of produce and eating fruits and veggies is a good way to stay hydrated. You don't have to drink as much water. And I also like herbal teas as well. I really like oat straw tea because it has a lot of silica in it, and that's great for soothing. It's very soothing to the nerves and anti-inflammatory. The other thing is, if you're on the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or the NSAIDs, if you're hooked on those, you're damaging your liver over time, and that's going to cause pain. The two main organ systems that are associated with pain are the liver and the adrenal glands. The liver, and to some extent the kidneys too, but I'm focused more on the adrenals. But the liver has to do with filtering, toxins and cleaning your blood, and the liver is involved with so many functions and hormones and everything. It's really kind of the first place to look in any kind of disease situation. And so with the liver, if you're hooked on the NSAIDs, you may end up having more pain because of your pain medications down the road. It's also important to remember that the liver has a lot to do with the joints. If you have arthritis and you have really bad joints, the tendency is when the liver becomes overloaded, a lot of the toxins just end up in the connective tissues. So the liver and the adrenals being, the mainstay of like anti-stress, they're anti-inflammatory. A lot of the hormones and hormonal balance is really dependent upon, so many things are dependent upon the adrenal, like the water balance in your body in general, your blood sugar balance. So making sure that you're not doing things that damage the adrenals. Smoking and too much bad coffee, primary cause of adrenal problems really is the amount of stress and the lack of water, the lack of vitamin C. So feed your adrenals vitamins B's and C's, and it's really important to get the essential fatty acids. It doesn't have to be fish oil necessarily. You just need to get a lot of omega-3. Omega-3 is pretty much what cushions, is the fatty acid that causes a lot of the cushioning, and it causes a lot of, it feeds the brain, and it's all about the inflammation factor, and making sure, if you're getting a lot of omega-3s, you're going to notice a lot less inflammation, especially if you have arthritis and whatnot. And it's good for the nerves as well. So what else? Intestines and basically your intestinal walls may be a real problem, especially if you have the leaky gut syndrome. And so getting away from the foods that you're allergic to, getting away from wheat, which causes leaky gut, lots of sugar, anything that's going to promote candida growth or yeast growth in your gut is a bad idea and will probably lead to pain and inflammation if you already have a permeable gut happening. And in that case, you're going to have to go on the leaky gut diet, and that's all over the internet as well. There's so many resources for leaky gut syndrome now. Enzymes and deficiencies in enzymes are another huge cause. If you're eating all cooked food and it's none of it, and low on the vegetables and fruits, then you're not going to be getting a lot of enzymes. You're going to be expending a lot of enzymes, and enzymes have everything to do with inflammation and tissue. You can look up enzymes and things like serapeptase. There's also just general enzymatic formulas out there. Raw foods and produce and whatnot have enzymes in them. Kombucha is one that I really like as well. So you can look into that, and I think that's it's very high up on my list of things that you need to address if you're having chronic pain, especially if it's arthritis or full body pain, or you have MS, or any kind of neurodegenerative condition as well. So when you're dealing with pain and neurodegeneration, you have to also look at the factor of the heavy metals. It's so common that people just do have a lot of metals in their tissue and their brain. It's one of the laundry list of things that you want to look at as far as pain is concerned, because in general, if the metals build up in your body, it can cause all kinds of organ malfunction. It can greatly slow down the liver. And infections are another case where there's so many hidden infections out there, and that's kind of something that you have to work with on your own or with your doctor. But if you have, acute inflammation, or if you even have chronic inflammation, either one can be an infection. One thing I really like to do, especially for dealing with pain and infection with the mouth, is the oil swish or oil pull, and I'll post a link for that below. That's something that if you follow the directions, I find that when I do the oil pulling in the morning, I don't have as much inflammation during the day at all. And so it's a kind of important to remember that your mouth directly affects the rest of your body, and when the mouth is full of guck and yuck and infections and metals and whatnot, it definitely can cause a burden on the body. So if you have any kind of mouth issues, you should look into doing something like that, and I found that to be everything they say it is. I mean, it really does cleanses your mouth, but while you're swishing the oil, it's also has a cleansing and moving effect on the whole digestive tract, and it gets the stomach fire up and the inflammation down, so your digestion will be stronger afterwards. The other thing about pain is injuries and interference fields can lead to pain, and when you have a scar or trauma, it can create a blockage in your meridian flow in your body. And so let's say that you have a baby and you have a C-section. Well, now you have a big fat C-section scar. And really, you can look into treating. I'll post a link below about treating interference fields and injuries. I am really, really big on sea salts, clays, and muds. And these have been probably my primary way of dealing with pain besides doing exercises. Sometimes you can't exercise because it hurts too much. And so working with, these different kinds of clays and muds, and also things like Epsom salts and magnesium chloride baths and magnesium chloride sprays and lotions, and I've used foot baths. These are the kind of things where you're going to get into the connective tissues and the muscles without a lot of hassle. So, I recommend that you do things like Epsom salt baths. I recommend you get the magnesium chloride, and I've mentioned this in the PTSD video as well. It's so fundamental to pain, especially if you have muscular pain, nerve problems like sciatica. The magnesium is my number one thing besides hydration and electrolytes. Also as well, if you have fungal infections and whatnot, things like reishi and cordyceps and a lot of these medicinal mushrooms can really help boost the liver and adrenals. And I rely on that kind of stuff. I have for a long time, and it's what has saved me from a lot of problems and pain. And I've seen reishi kill fungus and in someone who was sick from mold. It helped me with my own mold issues. So obviously emotions and stress are another problem that can really cause a lot of pain, and actually most pain is rooted in emotional imbalances and issues, and it might just be a feedback loop, and you might just have a problem now with the emotions about the pain. But generally, unless it's like an accident injury kind of thing, a lot of the way that the stress and strain happen in your body is really important to pay attention to. And some people, when they get stressed, it goes straight to their neck and shoulders, and other people it goes straight to the low back and pelvis. Some people it's both, you know, and you have to remember that your body is far more intelligent than you realize. It's giving you signals to explain to the mind, to work with the mind. And there's a disharmony between the body and the mind, and it might be what you're eating, it might be your lifestyle, it might be your lack of exercise, it might be that shitty person you're dating, it might be, you know, the fact that you are upset about your work. It could be a million things. And everyone has these emotional stressors that can cause them to not even eat right because they're so wound up in their emotional stuff. So all of these things are, I mean, I could go on and on. I should really expand on this more, but I wanted to do just a simple overview, and I also have a small exercise video with the hamstring and butt stretch. So other than that, I wish you guys the best in getting through your pain. So anyway, have a good day.